Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Gala. I actually got a lot of requests for this one here recently. It may not look like it, but it is actually pumping here today, upwards of about 8%. So we're going to see if there's any potential for further upside, kind of look at some key level supports and resistances and kind of go from there. And of course, if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. And if you do, obviously, like, subscribe, that whole 9 yards. But if you want to, essentially trade better, CryptoCash.tech is a site you can register to effectively have access to my signals, my community, and of course my trading university where I teach everything that I know. I've only been trading for about 17 years, but I got it down pretty good, and I can tell you, average about 85% success overall. I also use Bitget Exchange too, so I highly recommend using this as well. If you want to be part of my $10,000 prize pool monthly, link in the description below. CryptoCash.tech is the site you can register for my subscription, but also use Bitget. It's absolutely the best exchange in the world. And I'm not actually joking about that either. It's literally the best exchange. So let's go ahead and take a look here at Gala. Excuse me one second. All right. So what we want to do is look at some key level supports and resistance levels and kind of go from there. So there's not a lot of support or resistance, honestly, in the recent relevant past. We can kind of see and quickly identify that there was kind of a support channel here, right in the range of about 7 cents. We're a long ways from that, but we want to mark that just to be safe, to ensure that we have the opportunity to, understand what's going to happen next if we get to that level. Okay. Furthermore, we also want to kind of look at some more recent time frames here. We can see that there's not a lot of information here, except for the fact that we can kind of see, somewhat of a channel here. In other words, a descending type of trend that was recently broken, and that's usually a good sign. Okay, so again, the likelihood of Gala bleeding out from here is lower because we have broken to the upside and we've closed 1.5 days above that level. Okay, so that's positive too. So just some little things to kind of look at. And we can also draw out a little bit of a support level here based on these candle wicks. They are going right there. So let's just go ahead and complete this here. So that's kind of what we're looking at here for Gala. Next thing we want to look at, of course, is Fibonacci retracement levels and kind of go from there. We can go with a larger time frame considering there's not a tremendous amount of data here recently. And let's see if we can do that. First of all, we can go all the way from the top to the bottom here to get some major key level supports and resistances. That is helpful in the sense of Gala continuing higher, but right now we probably want to focus more so on some smaller time frame stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. If we go ahead and go to the smaller time frame, we can kind of see here there are some Fibonacci retracement levels we could extract here, and we could effectively reverse these as well if we'd like to kind of get perspective on where it's going to go next. Now, this is more so on a smaller time frame. A lot of times when you are looking at the smaller time frame, it's helpful to continuously update your Fibonacci retracement levels. But in this case here, with us looking at the most recent, just say 7 to 10 days, this should give us enough information on to go on. But again, the larger the time frame, the better, more reliable the Fibonacci retracement levels are. They're just stronger, if you will. So be careful using too small of a time frame. So I recommend nothing lower than 4 hour for Fibonacci retracement. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at some stuff here. So first and foremost, we're kind of getting rejected here at this 2.8 level. And we can see here right about 2.8, there is an opportunity to potentially break above that, but it hasn't been able to do that yet today. Okay, so again, that is something that we got to kind of see where the candlestick closes and go from there. But for the moment, we're looking pretty decent in the sense that it's obviously in this upper tier here, and it's ready to go ahead and kick through the next level. So if we take a look at the simple moving averages, we can see the 20-day simple moving averages worked its way down. We're above that now, and that's very helpful. And it's one of those things, sorry, got an active cat this morning. So what I'm getting at here is that the 50 is a far ways away, right? So Bitcoin's in a similar situation where it's above the 20, but it's below the 50. So that's not like a bad place to be. It's definitely positive in a sense. We have we have a little bit of a support that we're up above, but on the same accord, getting over that 50 is a really, really big deal. So to me, getting over the 50-day SMA would be a bullish sign that we'd be back on, mostly back on track, if you will. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for. But again, positive in the sense that we're above the 20. We're also testing 50 on the RSI. This is a common place for the price action to get rejected and to come back down. So again, that is something we need to be mindful of because it very well could turn itself around. But again, we could reject off of this level too. If we get above that and we close above that, we'd be in better shape to effectively be able to continue higher. But at this point, we can't really expect that to happen because of the fact that it's just kind of, it's too early to tell, right? So try not to buy into that, so to speak. Wait for that to close above and then allow that to be the catalyst that you're looking for. To me, I would have confirmation if we're above 50 on the RSI. That would be a good sign. We can see, of course, we're gaining momentum on the actual moving average convergence divergence, so not terrible in that sense by any stretch. But all in all, fairly decent, minus small caveats here. Okay, so again, Gala isn't by no stretch out of the woods yet, but it's definitely making some positive strides. We look at this, we are fairly overextended. You can see we got a bit of a reset here, a little bit of a 24-hour period of consolidation and the next leg up. It wasn't enough to reset here, but it is technically enough when you think about it. So, in truth, while we are in overtime, according to TD Sequential, we are actually only about 5 4-hour candles into this push. In other words, we probably have about 16 hours left of continuation of the upside. So just keep in mind, this could very well continue. It's not by any stretch extremely overextended. It just looks like that according to the charts here. And again, TD Sequential is just taking the 4th previous candlestick, counting up to a 9, and then once you hit these neon colors, it's basically just telling you that you're past due and the price should pull back. Okay. Now I'm saying that the price should pull back in general, but right now, again, we got a healthy reset in this area, and there's a good chance the price will continue higher based on the fact that it has good momentum and it had enough consolidation. Okay, you can kind of see how it consolidated right at this resistance level, the 0.5 Fibonacci at about 2.6? Yeah, 2.6 cents, and now it's already up to about 2.8, almost, plus or minus. Okay, so getting pretty up there, but on the same accord, how overextended is it? Well, we're up over 70 on the RSI. It's commonly a case in point where the price action is a little bit, it kind of validates that overextension, right? So, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that this is a continuation that's been continuing for almost 2 days now. And while that's all well and good, how much further should it go? Well, again, Fibonacci retracement levels will kind of tell us that we have other key levels that we need to be worried about. But for now, I think the closure above 2.8 today is important. We close above 2.8, we'll be in probably pretty good shape to continue higher. And granted, we get some consolidation at this level, we'll be in better shape. But again, the RSI is a bit overextended, so in truth, we have some indications here telling us that the price action might turn itself around. We're going to look at some, maybe some volume, and of course, also, I like to also look at the Bollinger Bands too, on smaller time frames to kind of see what that looks like. But for now, a 4-hour is a bit on the overextended side, but it's not terrible. Okay, let's take a look at the 1 hour and see if it tells us anything different. First of all, we're up above the cloud. Pretty obvious. It's when you have this kind of momentum, it's pretty much going to stay above for some time. So the great news is here, conversion lines above the baseline. We have pretty much 3 out of 3 indications saying to leave your long position open. Okay, so don't bother to change that. Honestly, we're in good shape here, and it's ultimately one of those things where you should not try to take a short position based on the fact that you feel it's overextended. Because again, even though it is overextended to an extent, we're well above a lot of other factors, right? And when you have all those things contributing, it tells us we are more bullish than bearish on a coin like this. Okay, so taking a look at TD Sequential, we can kind of see here, we're up to a 6 after we got a nice little reset here previously. We hit a 9 prior to, right there in that 12-hour stretch where we had that consolidation. And of course, the price action is moving higher. So hypothetically, we have about 3 more hours, somewhere in the range of just say 3 to 7 more hours of continuation of the upside. So that's the potential there in that sense. Let's go ahead and see also, I'm curious in the 15, what we're looking at for our volume. So based on the amount of volume we have, we can see that we're above the volume weighted average price. This is working as a support level. So it kind of reiterates the fact that 2.7 is a support area based on not only Fibonacci being a resistance previously, likely new support, but also the fact that if the price were to pull back, it would balance out that volume weighted average price. Okay, and what that basically does is it just takes the last 24 hours of volume and expresses it as a price, and that really just helps us understand that we're on the right side of the tracks. So in this case here, a long position is much more viable than a short, even though we are overextended on larger time frames. Again, not significantly overextended, just partially. Okay, so I don't see anything screaming that it's going to pull back here anytime soon. We probably should expect consolidation at the 2.8 range for a little while, and if it legs up from there, that's ultimately the signal to go along. Between now and then, I would recommend kind of hanging tight because there's a good chance we're going to probably be range bound between 2.7 and 2.8 based on the volume weighted average price, Fibonacci retracement levels, and the fact that 50 is working as a resistance level on the daily. So we put all that together here and we're mostly bullish. I would say maybe 70% probability of further upside, but we need to have consolidation at this level first before we do that. If it continues to leg up and go too far, again, we're outside these standard deviation lines, we don't have enough volume to support the price. And in turn, it'll turn around, okay? It'll turn itself around pretty hard, pretty fast if we don't have the volume. That's where volume is very helpful. But Bollinger Bands does tell us that we're not truly overextended and that we're within range here. So again, mostly positive stuff here for Gala. I really don't see it turning around anytime soon. It is due for an increase. Just keep in mind, a closure above 2.8 today would be extremely important. And I think that would give us that breakout type of situation to allow us to go further. Okay, so ultimately that's what we're looking at there. Hopefully that made sense and I explained that correctly to you. Again, if you're not currently a community member, consider joining CryptoCash.tech as a site. Obviously use Bitget if you want to qualify for my $10,000 prize pool monthly. And if you are going to use Bitget and you're in the States, you will need to use a VPN. ExpressVPN as well is also an opportunity that you can find that in my Discord and the comments below. Hope you have a great rest of the day. We'll look forward to working with you. Have yourself a good one. Take care.